بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا محمد وآل الطيبين الطاهرين وصحبه المنتجبين. We should be careful with respect to injustice, oppression, zulm. Zulm might be the most destructive thing that a human being can do. Perhaps nothing can be worse than this. According to the Quran, the minimum is that people may do injustice to themselves. So it's not that always you just do injustice to other people. Sometimes you do injustice to yourself. Even a person who lives alone still might be unjust. Why? Because he's doing injustice to himself. Any person who doesn't appreciate the life that he has, the talents that he has, the skills that he has learned, the knowledge that he has learned, the family life, the parents, community, this is doing zulm to himself. Everyone who doesn't listen to Allah's instructions, who violates the rulings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, who disregards moral boundaries, he's doing zulm to himself. Man yata'adda hudud Allah faqad zalama nafsah. But also we may do injustice to other people, and we have to be very careful. It's very easy to get involved into injustice. For example, sometimes we sit in a car or in the plane, and then we occupy more than what is my right to occupy. For example, there is seat for two people, then one person occupies 60%, 70% of the seats. So the other person has to squeeze himself. Sometimes, for example, when we are reciting, for example, the Quran, du'as, even in the holy places like in the shrines, maybe we recite loudly and we hurt people who are around. So injustice is not necessarily something like killing people, torturing people, taking away their property. Injustice can be sometimes by reciting loudly, by sitting in a very comfortable way without considering the comfort of other people, by driving, for example, fast and then annoying our passengers or the people who are walking on the street. When they look at us, they are afraid, they're frightened. So we have to be very careful. Of course, the worst type of injustice is when it is committed to masses, to nations, to people in large. أفضل الخيانة خيانة الأمة. The worst type of betrayal is when a nation is betrayed, when injustice is committed to a nation, which is normally very, very difficult to compensate for. Or when someone misguides people, this is again injustice. So we have to be careful not to get involved into injustice. Especially, I want to request everyone and remind myself of a fact which is repeating many times, and that is sometimes a person does injustice to us, but then we overreact, and when we overreact, we do injustice. For example, someone has done something bad to me, but then I go and talk to everyone in a bad way about that person. Or he said one bad word to me, I say two bad words in response. This is very bad. If that person is unjust to you, if he has oppressed you, Allah is there to help you. إِنَّ اللَّهَ يُدَافِعُ عَنِ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala defends the believers. But if you overreact and you become unjust, you lose Allah's support, and indeed Allah would be against you. Allah would not be in favor of that person, but also not in favor of you. So we have to be careful. When someone does something bad to us, we should not overreact. And also we should be careful not to let people to do injustice to us. We should not also be munzalim, and that is to be passive and let people to do zulm to you. You have to be strong. You don't want to do zulm to anyone, but at the same time, you don't want your rights to be taken away. You want to be careful about your rights and ask everyone to respect your rights, of course, in a nice way, in a way that they understand that you don't want anything extra, you don't want anything more than what you deserve, but they know that you are also careful and watching what is your right and safeguard it. I hope that inshallah we would all be free from doing injustice to other people, and also we should not let anyone to do injustice to us or other people, unless if it is something little unintentional that we can then ignore and forgive in order to have peaceful family and community life. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillah rabbil alamin.